Hi, gang, it's Hexy. Well, we definitely went outside our realm of comfort for this one here. McMurray's been on me about wanting to learn the Men of Iron system, and we argue with each other about which one of us needs to go learn it and teach each other how to play it. So finally, I broke down and I busted out the Men of Iron Tri-Pack and put Agincourt, which is a great game to start with. I don't think it covers all the rules in the game. As a matter of fact, that those of you that have it, look at that. I mean, there's two counter trays right there filled, and then I must have 15 to 20 baggies to cover the whole game. So there's a lot of stuff and it's a lot of battles in this game. And you're getting like 3 games. You're getting Men of Iron, Infidel, and Blood and Roses, and then they throw an Agincourt for Men of Iron to go with it. So playing Agincourt, because it's just a small footprint, it's the one that has the great big counters in it. And I played. There's not really turns in this game. It's you play with continuation, and the English player can knock down. We'll call it game turns. We'll call it the general track has 12 time segments on it to start the game. And the English player has the capability of reducing that time track. And if it gets down to 0, the game's over. And then your victory point determination. Well, not when you say victory point, you have what's called a flight point track, which is right here. And this is weird because, most games when you play, if Team A kills a strength point from Team B, Team A gets a victory point. Well, it's opposite in this game. If Team A loses strength points, they gain a flight point. Okay, depending on what the schedule says. And each side in this game has their own level of flight. Once they hit their flight max, I guess they're done. So like for this game here, the French are 30 and the Brits or the English are 14. But in this game here, the English are sitting behind these abatis, okay, with longbowmen and archers, in which, like I say, I've played probably, as you can see, these guys haven't even moved. So, and you play within continuation. So let's say that this, we normally say like a brigade, but in this game it's called a battle. So King Charles here, he activates. And all his red stripe units do their thing, whether it's move, fire, move and fire. And then when he's done, he has the option to continue. And what he does is you have to pick another battle that has not been moved yet in this continuation, unless the only battle is the one you just had. But he has 4 in this game here, the French do. So he would go back to this guy, and he would roll against this leader's activation, which the activation on this leader is a 3, top right corner in the red there. You have to roll less than. And then the activation is successful, and he can do his thing. And you can continue to do that. But as you do each continuation, you add 1 to the required die roll. So the first continuation would be a +1 on the die roll. Second one would be +2. Third would be +3, and so forth on down the line. Or the opposing player can play one of his chits, if he's got them, to seize the opportunity away from the other player by rolling within that die roll. And then he takes charge and he gets a free activation. So every first activation for a side is more or less a free activation. Okay, you can pick a battle. You don't have to roll for their activation, and you do your thing. And then you start the continuation process. Now, how does that time track thing over there work? Well, in this game here, the English, let's say they seize the opportunity away from the French. All they have to do is pass, do nothing. Pass, and then it moves that time chart down 1 track. All right? So I got started in this thing. I might have done 4 or 5 activations. And King Charles, in his first attack, broke through and got in between these abatis here. However, the English stole the continuation. All right? Or no, he failed a second continuation for his troops back here. They got a free activation, so we activated King Henry. We refaced the longbowman here, and we moved this longbowman because missile units can move and then fire. And we fired into here and drove that unit back. Now, when a unit gets retreated, if it's zone of controls and friendly units don't block them, I'm trying to think what the other game was. Oh, like BCS, where you had to move back to the headquarters. Well, they go into retire mode and they go back here to their standard, which is the flag, the king's flag back here. All right. And there are recovery rules, which I haven't gotten to the point of having to use yet. I did have King Edward's. This guy here was flipped to his disordered side. All right. And I couldn't rally him because there was a French unit sitting right here. But when the longbowman drove the French unit out, he was no longer adjacent. When he had an activation, he was able to rally that guy. So it's pretty simple. The fighting is you've got ranged combat with bows, which you have a table that tells you plus die roll at this range, plus die roll at that range, minus die roll at this range. And then you die roll modifiers for your terrain or whatever type of unit is. And there's no strength numbers on these units. You have a chart. So if a mounted men-at-arms on this chart, which will be up top here, all right, was attacking whatever this DM is, there's going to be a -1 die roll. All right. Now, and your strength on this game here is the number of units. So if you have 2 units attacking one, it's like having 2 strength points attacking 1 strength point, and you're going to get a plus for that. And that's how simple the game works. I got some other counters up here that I don't know what they do yet. The seizure counters, like I say, sitting up here, those are like random chits that you draw and then you get to use them as you play. You have a continuation marker, which use the general track over here to keep track of how many continuations in a row you've done. Because obviously you're going to have a certain point that no matter what you can't even roll to get another continuation because it's just too high up the chart. And then you have these mounted guys, like right here, that can break down, or they can dismount, go on foot, and become those guys. All right? Maybe that means unmounted horsemen. I don't know what that UH stands for because I haven't looked at it yet. So, yeah. So, okay. Not Hexy's thing. Like I say, 5 or 6 activations. Kind of fun. And I think it's fun because it's so simple. You're not doing all these different techniques to get combat or fire going. The missile fire is simple. The combat is pretty simple. Executing the results is pretty simple. And the flow of the game is really simple. I think your biggest decisions to make here are, hey, do I want to use one of my chits to seize control? Or do I want to throw in a battle cry to give me some bonuses or something like that? So it's pretty simple. And you might be able to draw a different number of chits for different games you're playing. Now, okay, Hexy, this isn't the big one. This isn't one of the big ones. I haven't got there yet. All right, I will get there. And what Hexy's thinking is once I go from this to one of the larger games, this might help me move in, even though I know it's probably not the same. It just looks the same. Might start helping move into the great battles of history with the Julius Caesar stuff or Cataphract or something like that. So Hexy's stepping outside of his realm and trying some different things. All right, but this is Agincourt, the Men of Iron box tri-pack from GMT. I think you can still get this thing. I'm not sure. I haven't looked on GMT's site for it yet. But I know you can get this around, and just what's in the box alone is worth it. And it quadruples the worth if you love this era of games, whether it's medieval or Renaissance, whatever it is. Okay. So, this is another one of those games where in reality, for the most part, you're playing your game off of this one page of this fold-out chart. It's got other stuff. And then like I said, on the front side, you've got those unit type engagement modifiers. And then in the middle is just for all the terrain charts for the different games. Okay. So, and seizure counter explanation right there tells you what those chits do and stuff like that. And then you got reluctance to charge for like your horses and a cavalry charge, stuff like that. Or even I think in Shock might have it too. So fun so far. This one shouldn't take a whole lot long to play. And then I think I'm going to get McMurray, get his set up and help him get through it and get him playing it too. So I think he'll have some fun with this one. All right, it's Hexy. Let's get this one so you can see what's going on with this. Talk to you soon.